On my wedding day, my groom David Brown publicly ran away, turning me into the biggest joke in high society circles, facing the strange gazes of all my relatives and friends filling the seats. I calmly announced that the wedding would continue. Then, I turned around and married his archenemy, the most elusive eligible bachelor in the elite circles. But later, he regretted it, begging me desperately, "Vivian, I know I was wrong. Come back to me, please." I was bewitched back then, and after all this time, I finally realize you're the one I should have loved all along. The famously aloof and dignified man quietly shielded me behind him, flashing his diamond ring provocatively as if to challenge. David, coveting someone else's wife isn't a good habit. After all, a pearl like Vivian isn't meant for just any riffraff. David Brown had fled the wedding. The reason was that his little lover Lily Taylor had gone missing after hearing about his marriage plans. During the ring exchange ceremony, his assistant rushed in with a phone call. I faintly overheard the anxious voice on the other end. "David, Miss Lily is gone." David's face visibly paled with panic as he shouted urgently, "What happened? I told you to keep an eye on her. How could you mess this up? What's wrong with all of you?" After blurting that out, he seemed to remember I was right there and toned down his frantic expression, lowering his voice to ask, "What exactly happened?" The assistant stammered in explanation. "David, Miss Lily received an anonymous text this morning telling her about your wedding today. She tricked the maid into confirming it. And then, she locked herself in her room. When the maid went in with afternoon tea, she found Miss Lily had vanished." David's face instantly turned ashen, and he gripped his phone, brow furrowed. Then, as if struck by a thought, he slowly shifted his gaze to me, giving me a complicated look. I watched as disappointment gradually spread across his face before he turned and hurried out, barking into the phone, "Do whatever it takes to find her. If Lily isn't found, you're all fired." "David," I called out coldly, "do you know what day this is?" He paused briefly but didn't answer, striding out resolutely under everyone's stares. I stared tightly at his back as he rushed off for another woman, suddenly realizing my heart felt completely numb. Facing the odd looks from the packed room of relatives and friends, I signaled to the MC to continue the wedding. Calmly, I pulled out my phone and dialed a number. "Are you free? Get ready and come marry me right now. I'll text you the address." David tore through City A searching for Lily Taylor. Frustrated, he called me, "Vivian Williams, I never thought you could be so vicious. Lily never wanted to compete with you. I was the one who insisted on keeping her by my side. She did nothing wrong. If you have a problem, take it out on me. Why keep targeting Lily? Believe it or not, it wasn't me," I replied with distaste. "David, stop barking like a helpless dog. What did you call me?" He sounded stunned for a moment before snorting coldly, "If not you, then who? I worked so hard to keep it secret. If you hadn't deliberately leaked the news to her, she wouldn't have left me. Vivian, I already agreed to marry you. Why can't you tolerate Lily?" I took a deep breath, suppressing the urge to call him an idiot. "David, you're really self-sacrificing. But save it, crawl as far away as you can. Thanks." I couldn't be bothered to engage further and hung up. Then blocked all his contacts. "So, home now." Michael Johnson's voice chimed in beside me. I turned to look at him. The car's interior was dimly lit, but Michael's eyes shone brightly. He seemed to be in a good mood. "Yes. Take me home," I said. He leaned over to fasten my seatbelt, bringing with him a crisp, refreshing scent that was oddly pleasant. Glancing at me, he added, "This wedding was a bit rushed. The old man ordered me to take you back to the family estate for dinner in a few days." Remembering the kindly old man from my memories, I nodded. The Williams family and the Johnson family had been close for generations. Michael was 2 years older than me, and we'd played together since childhood. Back then, I was a total tomboy, always demanding that Michael be my little sidekick. He didn't object and even accompanied me in causing trouble everywhere. I was quite mischievous and got into a lot of trouble. As the saying goes, it's always the underling who suffers, never the boss who takes the blame. So Michael Johnson took the beatings for me. Later, Michael's parents had an accident abroad, and he had no choice but to go overseas for further studies and take over his parents' business there. He was gone for many years. When he returned, I was hitting it off with David Brown. And I didn't pay much attention to him. I only knew that he had taken over the family business and officially became the head of the Johnson family. Until today, David ran away from the wedding. Who the groom was no longer mattered. David running away had utterly humiliated the Williams family. If the wedding was cancelled, tomorrow's front page news would definitely be about Vivian Williams being abandoned at her wedding. People always love to see the joke of wealthy elite families falling from grace. But the only suitable person I could think of was Michael. As far as I knew, he had no woman by his side. But since we hadn't seen each other for many years, I wasn't sure if he would definitely come. Fortunately, he agreed. It was a last-minute rescue like this, and I felt a bit sorry for him. "What kind of talk is that?" he suddenly said. And only then did I realize I had inadvertently spoken my thoughts out loud. He looked directly into my eyes and said seriously, "Vivian, don't say that. Being able to marry you is my good fortune." My stepmother was cooking in the kitchen wearing an apron. When she saw me come in, she glanced behind me. "Didn't Michael come back with you?" I shook my head. He had some company matters to attend to and went back to handle them. Stepmom sighed. "Vivian, you've been wronged. I made your favorite dish. Go wash your hands and get ready to eat." As she spoke, she got a bit angry. "That brown jerk is no good. Tomorrow, have your dad deal with them. What a piece of work." She paused and glanced upstairs. "Your dad was so angry he didn't eat today. It's good you're back. Go call your dad down to eat." I nodded and walked upstairs, pushing open the study door. My dad was sitting at his desk handling company documents. "Dad, it's time to eat." Dad nodded, put down his pen, looked up at me. "Pack your things in the next few days and go out with stepmom to relax properly. I'll handle the Brown family." "Got it, Dad." Dad changed the subject. "What do you think of that Johnson boy?" "Huh? What do I think?" With my eyes, I guess. I was confused. Dad looked at me with some disdain. "He helped our family out today. Don't you have anything to say to him?" Seeing I didn't speak, Dad continued. "Actually, a long time ago, Michael's dad and I intended to matchmake you two. His family is familiar after all. And Michael is a good kid. Much better than that Brown family one." Dad glanced at me. "It's just a pity you insisted on liking that jerk." "Dottie, no, I was wrong." I shook Dad's arm. Dad helplessly tapped my forehead. I slept comfortably until I woke up naturally. The maid told me that Mr. and Mrs. Brown had come early in the morning and had been waiting downstairs for a long time. Madam instructed that we shouldn't bother Miss Vivian until she wakes up. "Ignore them." I nodded to show I understood. Then slowly got up to wash up and put on makeup. Mr. and Mrs. Brown had been waiting for a long time. Mr. Brown was frowning, looking somewhat impatient. Mrs. Brown had already drunk 2 pots of tea and kept glancing at the time on her phone. She asked the maid standing nearby in an anxious tone, "Has Vivian gotten up yet?" "It's almost noon." The maid wore a standard professional smile. "Miss Vivian was so heartbroken yesterday that she only fell asleep at dawn. Mrs. Brown, please understand and let her sleep a bit more." I deliberately made some noise, and they looked up, seeing me come down from upstairs. They hid their expressions and put on smiles. Mrs. Brown hurriedly walked over and took Vivian Williams' hand, showing a loving expression. Mr. Brown also stood up and gave her an apologetic smile. "Vivian, we made you suffer." Mrs. Brown continued. "David really behaved terribly this time. Vivian, You can rest assured that our Brown family only recognizes you as our daughter-in-law. Vivian pretended to look sad and forced a bitter smile. Uncle and Aunt. You saw what happened yesterday. David ran away from our wedding for another woman. It shows how important that woman is to him. Mrs. Brown patted her chest in assurance. Aunt promises you that we'll definitely make David break up with that woman. Then we'll hold a grander wedding for you. Who would want to have a make-up wedding with him? Even dogs wouldn't want that rotten guy. But Vivian couldn't say what was really on her mind. She still had to play the whole act. She secretly pinched her thigh until the pain made her eyes water. And everyone witnessed the shameful act of changing the groom at the wedding yesterday. As things stand, it seems that David and I are just not meant to be. Vivian gave the wedding ring to Mrs. Brown, choking with sobs. Then she quickly covered her face and walked upstairs. It's a joke. If she didn't leave quickly, she really wouldn't be able to cry. News about David's mess gradually reached Vivian's ears. It was said that David searched high and low and finally found Lily Taylor half a month later. Mr. Brown had given him a very important big client to negotiate a deal with. They had almost reached an agreement and were about to sign the contract when David received a call. His assistant told him that they had found Lily. Without hesitation, he rushed off to pick her up right in front of the big client, abandoning a multi-million-dollar project. The client was so angry that he smashed a set of tea sets on the spot and vowed never to cooperate with any company under the Brown family again. Seeing his reckless behavior for the sake of Lily, Vivian didn't know if she should laugh at David for being love-struck. When Mr. Brown found out, he was furious. He went to the client's company several times to apologize. But the client didn't even want to see him and had the security guards drive him out. Mr. Brown was deeply humiliated. When he got home, he invoked the family rules, called David back, and gave him a good beating, forcing him to break up with Lily. But David refused and made quite a scene. As a result, he was locked up at home and not allowed to go out. Lily came to the Brown family's house several times but couldn't see David. So she came to Vivian, hoping that Vivian could plead with the Browns to let David out. She was wearing a little white dress and crying pitifully. Ms. Williams, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to interfere in your relationship. I just love David so much. When I heard about your wedding, I was heartbroken. I had already decided to let go and wish you two happiness. But when I saw how David used all the resources of the Brown family to find me and how he couldn't eat or sleep well, I just couldn't bear it. It's all my fault. Ms. Williams, I'm just begging you, for old time's sake, to help him. She was really so delicate and pitiful. Vivian shook her head. Sorry, there's nothing I can do. Hearing this, Lily's face immediately changed. I know you're angry, but he's locked up at home because you stole his big client. Ms. Taylor, you're wrong. David and I have nothing to do with each other. Besides, in the business world, there's no such thing as stealing clients. It all depends on one's own ability. Actually, I should thank you, Ms. Taylor. If it weren't for David leaving the big client who was about to sign the contract just to pick you up and making the client angry, I wouldn't have had this chance. Vivian smiled as she leaned closer to Lily and asked, Isn't all this because of you? Lily stopped crying and stared at Vivian angrily. Vivian didn't have time to care about their mess. She was busy learning to take over her father's company. She did manage to steal David's big client. She was busy finalizing the cooperation right away. If he could do something as stupid as pushing away a money-making opportunity for a woman, he couldn't blame others for snatching it. This was the first project Vivian had taken on. Her father was so happy that he ate 2 more bowls of rice. Michael Johnson even took time out of his busy schedule to send her a congratulatory gift. Vivian, congratulations. Vivian opened the box and found a very delicate necklace inside. She smiled and accepted it, promising to send him a return gift. When David heard that Vivian had taken over his big client, he somehow managed to run out of the house and blocked her in the parking lot. Look. There's always a way. Here he was. Out of the house. Vivian. I really need this project. Can you give it back to me? His hair was in a mess. And he looked so shabby as if he hadn't groomed himself for days. Why should I? Vivian raised her eyebrows and asked. Who did he think he was? Did he think he could just claim the client whenever he wanted and discard it whenever he felt like it? Seeming to notice the disdain in my eyes, David Brown's tone darkened. Vivian Williams. I've already let go of what you did to Lily Taylor. Yet you're still throwing a tantrum with me. I wouldn't dare throw a tantrum with David. I'm just stating facts. If David doesn't want it, someone else will fight for it. He frowned. Stop speaking in riddles. If you're trying to get my attention with this act, I'll tell you straight. I'm not buying it. I advise you to give up on that client. Then I might consider marrying you. I almost laughed at his audacity. David should know very well that the groom at the wedding has been replaced. Stop deluding yourself. I was blind before. You and your Lily Taylor can live your lives. Don't bother me again. He snapped. You're being unreasonable. I ignored him, opened the car door, and drove off. Lately, Michael Johnson had been hitting him hard, reportedly snatching several major projects from him. My dad had also pulled some strings behind the scenes, causing their stock to steadily decline. Their cash flow was tight now, and David was getting desperate, trying to win back that big client through me to solve their urgent crisis. I wouldn't give them that chance. Lily Taylor was pregnant. Mr. and Mrs. Brown, as harsh as they were, couldn't let their grandchild be left out. So they reluctantly agreed to the marriage. But they looked down on Lily Taylor after all. Without her, they wouldn't have offended the Williams and Johnson families. So David and she just rushed through the marriage certificate without even a wedding. Still, Lily Taylor was overjoyed. She eagerly posted a photo online of her and David wearing rings, with the caption, "Fate ultimately brings the right people together." She was a minor influencer with hundreds of thousands of followers, usually building her persona as a sweet, kind, rich, beautiful girl online to earn money. Uninformed fans flooded the comments with congratulations. Congrats to our dear Lily for making it official. Lily finally got together with the one she loves. This is like a fairy tale between a prince and princess, so adorable. Your husband is so handsome. Sis. You're so lucky. Someone in the know commented. Isn't that guy the Brown family heir? He was supposed to marry the Williams heiress recently but ran off on the wedding day for a mistress. Could you be the homewrecker? Fans immediately jumped in to defend Lily Taylor. What nonsense are you spouting? Our Lily isn't like that. Exactly. We've all seen how strong Lily and her husband's bond is. They're a perfect match. People these days have no morals, spreading lies so casually. When Lily Taylor saw the comments, she posted her marriage certificate with David, including the official stamp proving it was his first marriage, and followed up with a clarification video. In it, her eyes were slightly red as she put on a pitiful, innocent look, softly thanking her fans. Thank you all for your support. Having you makes me so happy. I don't understand why there are malicious rumors lately about me and my husband. Let me clarify. Yes, there were plans for an arranged marriage before, but that was between the elders in both families. And my husband hadn't met me back then. She smiled gently. My father-in-law had business ties with the Williams elders, so a merger marriage wasn't surprising. But after meeting me, my husband talked it over with his family. My in-laws like me a lot, so they canceled the arrangement with the Williams family themselves. Lily Taylor's eyes welled up as she said plaintively, I don't know why these people are spreading lies now. Our family might not be as wealthy as the Williams, but we're decent and respectable. My husband and I fell for each other naturally. There's no homewrecking here. What kind of person I am, I believe clear-eyed people can see. I hope some people stop clinging to my husband and slandering me with these false claims. Thank you. At the end of the video, Mrs. Brown looked at Lily Taylor affectionately and said, "Lily is truly a good daughter-in-law." Nothing like what's said online. After the video ended, Lily Taylor's fans went wild. I knew it. Someone as sweet and kind as our Lily would never be a homewrecker. Others tagged the informed commenter. See. Her mother-in-law spoke up. How dare you say such things? Her mother-in-law clearly adores her. I envy Lily. Some people are just jealous of Lily and trying to smear her. It's disgusting. Sis and her husband are a perfect match. Who dares to compare? A passerby asked. Who are they talking about? Lily Taylor's fans replied sarcastically. Who else? That toxic woman who failed to marry David. Haha. The idiot who leaked the story exposed themselves serves them right. How shameless. Still having the nerve to accuse our Lily of meddling in their relationship. Laugh out loud. Wasn't it her who was desperately clinging to Lily's husband? Talk about the pot calling the kettle black. She couldn't get what she wanted. So she resorts to slander and defamation. How does someone like that even have the face to speak? Seriously. In this day and age, there are still people eager to be the other woman. Gross. They should consider if they're even worthy. And she calls herself a wealthy heiress, knowingly being the other woman and targeting the original wife. What kind of upbringing is that? Doesn't her family have a stepmother? Probably learned it all from her. Unbelievable. Haha. Fans spoke up for Lily Taylor. And under Lily's subtle guidance, they found my account, flooding my comments section with vile language. The intense backlash caused the company's stocks to show signs of decline. My assistant, Xiao Yang, fumed indignantly. Vivian Williams. Do these people have no brains? This Lily isn't any good either. How does she have the audacity to twist the truth? I calmly took a sip of coffee. Seeing how unruffled I was, Xiao Yang grew anxious. On the verge of tears. Vivian. What do we do? She's teaming up with her like-minded fans to insult you like this. It's infuriating. I smiled calmly, reassuring her. Don't worry. This is all within my expectations. Assistant Yang. It's our turn to strike back now. I drew out my words. The most thrilling moment of exposure is about to arrive. I winked at her with a smile. Xiao Yang stared at me wide-eyed in confusion. The so-called insiders under Lily's comments were arranged by me. I anticipated she'd come forward to clear her name. She'd never willingly accept the label of the other woman. She'd definitely use her fans to whitewash her image. And the best tactic was to throw mud at me, painting me as a spiteful heiress who, after being rejected by David, turned her love into hatred and targeted her. That way, no matter what evidence I produced, it would look like protesting too much, only proving her story true. Whatever I did to them would be seen by others as a tantrum over the Brown family calling off the engagement, leveraging my status as a wealthy heiress to deliberately target her and the Browns. David's mother did despise Lily. That's true. But Lily's clarification video benefited them. It could kick the Williams family while flaunting their noble refusal to chase wealth. That's why she agreed to cooperate with Lily in this charade. If they could use public opinion to pressure the Williams family, great. Even if the Williamses got angry, they'd blame the instigator Lily, not the Browns. The backlash surged like a tsunami, overwhelming the Williams family. And Lily basked in the joy of successfully setting me up. But what she didn't expect was that my first wave of retaliation would humiliate her thoroughly. I released the first video. The wedding had a professional filming team recording the ceremony, and I kept the footage. In the video, my face and David's were clearly visible as we exchanged rings amid the guests' congratulations. The camera zoomed in on us when suddenly David's phone rang. David answered it, and the lens captured his obvious panic. What's going on? Didn't I have someone watching her? What's wrong with all of you? Can't you handle a simple thing? It was the scene of David fleeing the wedding after that call. At the end of the video, David held his phone while talking and walking away. Do whatever it takes to find her. If you can't find Lily, you're all fired. Then I called out to him, David, do you know what day this is? My face was pale, the stage lights shining into my eyes, making them look watery in the camera angle, as if filled with tears. David paused but still walked off without looking back. After the video went out, the online trolls fell silent. Only Lily's fans kept ranting. What does this prove? It could be a deepfake. Exactly. The Williams family is rich, they can fabricate any evidence they want. They must have forged this to frame our Lily. A professional spoke up after analysis. The video shows no signs of face swapping or editing. Some fans still refuse to believe it. How much did the Williams family pay you? Still defending them. How much for a whitewashing gig? Share it with everyone to make money together. Are you guys in cahoots? Does Vivian Williams not want our Lily Taylor to do well? Vivian, speak up with your main account. Don't secretly use a burner to smear others. Disgusting. Still have to come out and stir trouble. Some onlookers couldn't stand it. Fans, stop being ridiculous. She's an influencer in her field. Just stating facts. Exactly. I'm almost moved by your loyalty to your idol. When the two sides were clashing fiercely, I released the second video. It was surveillance footage from when the Brown family parents visited me, which I specifically had the butler retrieve. In the clear video, Mrs. Brown saw me coming down the stairs looking pale with dark circles under my eyes, and she rushed over to grab my hand. Mr. Brown's apologetic voice came through. Vivian Williams, we're sorry you had to go through this. What David Brown did was utterly despicable. Vivian Williams, rest assured, the Brown family only recognizes you as our daughter-in-law, uncle and aunt. You saw what happened yesterday. David ran away with another woman for the wedding, showing how much she means to him. I promise you, Aunt will make sure David cuts ties with that woman. And we'll hold an even grander wedding for you later. As soon as this video came out, the most vocal of Lily's fans fell silent. They felt their faces stinging. The public pressure that had been bearing down on the Williams family instantly flipped. And spectators flocked to enjoy the drama. Haha, Lily Taylor. That phony saint. I've always disliked her. Serves her right for crashing. Just a spectator here. No ill will. But this slip in the face story is so satisfying. Vivian, I'm sorry I mindlessly joined the hate train earlier. I apologize. I admit I was too loud before. Sorry. Vivian, please be magnanimous and don't hold it against me. This twist is unreal. Haha. Great entertainment. I'm hooked. For the third wave, I revealed Lily's true background. She wasn't some rich heiress at all. Her family was struggling, with a mother who favored sons over daughters. Her mother always doted on her brother, expecting Lily to earn money for his lifestyle. Lily disguised herself as a wealthy socialite to get close to rich heirs. In high school, she was kept by some sugar daddy. And in college, she juggled multiple sugar daddies. All those subtly braggy photos and travel videos were taken during trips with the men funding her. After this evidence dropped, fans abandoned her en masse. I never imagined she was this kind of person. So gross, basically selling herself. Yet she played the rich girl act for so long. Ugh. I actually thought she was decent. Turns out she was hiding her true colors deep. She fooled us all. Laughable. I'm blacklisting her for life. I even defended her against the haters. Now I see him the real clown. The Brown family is no good either. Look how they sweet-talked Vivian to her face but stabbed her in the back. Birds of a feather flocked together. Lily started panicking, crying to fans for understanding. But they saw through her and ignored her. The internet flooded with hate. But it wasn't over. I personally posted another video detailing the whole story from start to finish. Finally, I shook my head with a bitter smile. I know David and I were never meant to be. And I was ready to wish them well. Never expected to end up slandered like this. I did all this just to clear my name. I, Vivian Williams, would never be a homewrecker. And I hope everyone moves on, leaving public resources for those who truly need them. My generosity earned me new fans. Sis is so classy, that's true elite spirit. Vivian is the epitome of beauty and kindness. Those weepy green teas don't deserve to lick her boots. Blessed people avoid cursed homes. Good riddance that tea. He jerk got taken by that green tea. Truly top-notch elegance for a socialite. Hugs. Sis. I seized the moment to plug my company. Lily Taylor was so overwhelmed by the criticism that she became a virtual shootin', phoning me in tears to beg for mercy. I simply chuckled and hung up. I heard the incident severely impacted the Brown family business, enraging Mr. Brown so much that he delivered several sharp slaps to Lily Taylor's face, knocked to the ground by the blows. She collided with a coffee table during the fall, resulting in a miscarriage that claimed the baby. David Brown, unusually, didn't defend Lily Taylor. Upon learning the baby was lost, he merely furrowed his brow. Mrs. Brown pointed at Lily Taylor, berating her as a jinx and a bad omen, accusing her of causing endless trouble for the family even before marriage and now this colossal disaster after the engagement, lamenting that she couldn't even hold on to a child. Lily Taylor wept her explanations, but no one listened. Following this ordeal, the company's stock price rose, and the entire group's reputation began to improve. My father was overjoyed, grinning from ear to ear. When an old friend called inviting him to dinner, he immediately crowed. How did you know my daughter turned the tables and made them eat their words? Just like her old man. That's my girl. Michael Johnson invited me out for dinner. My father beamed, his teeth flashing in a wide grin. Had always wanted to set Michael and me up and was naturally thrilled to see us spending more time together to nurture feelings. Michael politely bid farewell to my father, then carefully fastened my seatbelt. A new restaurant just opened downtown. The food's excellent. Taking you there today. He leaned in close, so close that his warm breath brushed against my face. I could smell the faint, strangely comforting scent that clung to him as he spoke. His lips inadvertently grazed my cheek. I suspected it was deliberate, yet a flush crept onto my face regardless. I saw the slight lift at the corner of his lips. Just after we ordered, a familiar female voice rang out excitedly. Michael, fancy seeing you here for dinner too. I looked up to see Lisa Miller, with her big, bouncy curls and a figure to match, plopping down unceremoniously next to Michael. She gazed at him with open affection, deliberately pressing close to Michael. She shot me a challenging smirk. Vivian, you don't mind if I join, do you? I rolled my eyes, refusing to engage, just as Michael, frowning, suddenly stood up and moved to sit beside me instead. Lisa's smile froze instantly. Lisa is the daughter of my mother-in-law's best friend. We played together as children. Back then, she was quiet and prim, a perfect little lady who won Mrs. Johnson's favor. We never got along. She looked down on my boisterous, tomboy ways, and I couldn't stand her artificial, overly refined act. We've been mutual thorns in each other's sides for years. After her family moved abroad, we hadn't seen each other again. I hadn't realized she'd returned. Years abroad seemed to have made her more carefree, shedding that fake ladylike demeanor entirely. Michael, why so cold? You weren't like this with me overseas. Coming back home made you distant. Lisa pouted at Michael, her tone dripping with false familiarity. I turned and shot Michael a questioning look. What's this about? What happened between you two? Secrets I don't know. Afraid I'd misunderstand. Michael rushed to explain. Vivian, it's not like that. You know my mom is close with her family. When my parents had that accident abroad and I went over to handle things, I just stayed temporarily at their place. He added urgently. Vivian, don't get the wrong idea. I barely know her. I've always kept my distance. Please believe me. I found his flustered defense rather amusing. Who would have guessed the formidable head of the Johnson Empire could look like this? We're only married in name. He didn't really owe me any explanation. I placated him. All right. I didn't say anything, did I? Lisa watched our exchange, her face darkening with anger. Michael, seemingly oblivious to Lisa's fury, delivered a dismissal. Miss Miller, if there's nothing else, please don't disturb my wife and me during our meal. Lisa shot me a venomous glare, snatched up her purse, and stormed off. Michael glanced at me cautiously. Vivian, aren't you angry? I was puzzled. Why would I be angry? A flicker of hurt crossed his face. Quickly masked. No reason, he stammered, changing the subject. Since we're married in name now, I was thinking, maybe living separately isn't ideal. He added quickly. Don't worry. You can have the master bedroom. I'll take another room. I absolutely won't disturb you, he assured me. Was this an invitation to cohabit? I thought for a moment. Indeed. It's my fault for not considering it thoroughly. At the wedding, so many people were watching. For the sake of the Williams family and Johnson family's dignity, we need to put on a show. He brightened up, his tone becoming lighthearted. Then I'll come pick you up tomorrow. Okay. I mentioned this to my dad, explaining some pros and cons. My dad and stepmom exchanged a glance, both wearing knowing smiles, and approved. Good. It's thoughtful of you young people. That's how I moved into the villa where Michael Johnson usually stayed. The project was quite busy, and even on a big weekend, I had to work with Michael in the study. We were busy until evening. The butler knocked on the door. Sir, Miss Lisa is here. Michael frowned. What does she want? The butler shook his head. Miss Lisa didn't say. But she looks very angry. Lisa Miller had already stormed into the study furiously. You're really cohabiting with her. Michael, how could you do this? Michael looked at Lisa, who had barged in suddenly, with impatience. I'm legally cohabiting with my wife. What does that have to do with you? Miss Lisa is overstepping her bounds. Lisa pointed at me and shouted at Michael. You've liked her for so many years, but when has she ever given you a proper glance? She only got the marriage certificate with you out of necessity. She doesn't care about you at all. Oh dear. I watched the chaotic scene about to drag me in and hesitated over whether to defend myself. Michael seemed to automatically block out the parts of Lisa's words he didn't like, smiling at me instead. Vivian still has a place for me in her heart. Otherwise, why would she only get the certificate with me? Lisa choked on his words, furious and anxious. She gradually reddened and started crying. During those years abroad, you were always cold and formal with me. I liked you so much, and I treated you 1,000 times better than Vivian. Why can you never see me? How am I worse than Vivian? Michael acted oblivious to the beautiful woman's tears, adding fuel to the fire. Sorry, I just can't like a girl who acts ladylike but actually wet the bed at age 8, grinds her teeth, snores, and enjoys picking her nose and eating dead skin. Pfft. I couldn't hold back and laughed out loud, but I felt it wasn't the time to laugh, so I pressed my lips together, trying to stifle the laughter. Lisa's crying stopped instantly. She glared at Michael, her face dark, pointing at him and stammering you for a while before finally saying to me through gritted teeth, Vivian Williams, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have competed with you for Michael. I won't do it again. It's my problem. She shot Michael another glare, cursed, disgusting, and then ran out. Furious and humiliated, struggling to hold back laughter, I stole a glance at Michael. He was looking at me too. I cleared my throat. No, nothing. Well, it's getting late. Let's rest early. David Brown's company was doing worse by the day, with many projects snatched by Michael and me. He was desperate to prove himself. He temporarily set aside his romance with Lily Taylor and devoted himself to work. It must be said that David was capable. Through tireless effort, he actually managed to snatch a land project in the north of the city. I had someone pass a message to Lily Taylor that David was seeing someone else. Lily had been neglected badly lately and couldn't sit still upon hearing this. During a business dinner, red wine accidentally spilled on David's clothes, and his female secretary brought him new ones to his room. Just as Lily walked in, Lily Taylor suspected they were having an affair, recalling how David Brown had been cold to her lately, using work as an excuse. She flew into a rage and lashed out at him. David initially tried to calm her with patience, but she grew increasingly paranoid. At a drinking session with the land project's CEO, they hired several sexy female companions. When Lily arrived at the private room, one companion was snuggled in David's arms, feeding him drinks. She exploded in anger, causing a huge scene in front of the CEO, making the situation extremely ugly. Unable to take it anymore, David slapped her across the face and shouted, "Have you had enough of this? I'm working. How could you become so unreasonable?" Lily covered her face, staring at him in disbelief, and pointed at the companion, demanding, "I'm unreasonable. Is your job about letting these women cling to you and feed you drinks?" David was worn out by Lily's antics. When I saw him again at the social event, he looked slightly haggard. Spotting me, radiant and glamorous, his eyes lit up, and he stood to walk toward me. "Vivian, long time no see," he said. I didn't even want to give him a glance. "David, don't call me that. We're not familiar," I replied. I turned and left without wanting further contact. David didn't follow, but I felt a gaze fixed on me from behind. I decided it was time to call it quits. The land project in the north was something I intentionally let David win. It appeared profitable on the surface but was actually problematic. Eager to prove himself and thinking projects I favored couldn't be bad, he invested the company's last funds without thorough checks. Now, with issues arising, the money couldn't be recovered. David's company already had cash flow problems, making this a major setback. Rumors spread, and suppliers, fearing non-payment, demanded immediate settlement. The company's stock, which had stabilized, plummeted. David's father learned of this, became so angry he vomited blood, and was hospitalized. David ran non-stop between the company and hospital. Overwhelmed, Lily heard the Brown family might go bankrupt or even face legal trouble. So she took valuables and fled abroad overnight to avoid involvement. Exhausted and drowning his sorrows in alcohol, David intercepted me at the villa entrance, reeking of alcohol. "Vivian," he murmured. Eyes bloodshot, beard unshaven for who knows how long, his white shirt wrinkled and stained with alcohol. "Vivian, I have nothing left," he choked up, looking utterly vulnerable. Lily heard about the company. She ran away. I thought she had feelings for me. But she's like other women, more interested in my money. He gazed at me lovingly, a rare deep affection in his eyes. "These days, I keep thinking about when we were together. Vivian, I'm sorry. I hurt you. Who treated me so well? For a woman like that?" Unmoved, I asked. "So?" My indifference seemed to wound him. A tear fell as he choked out, "Vivian, I know I was wrong. Come back to me, please," he pleaded. I was blinded by obsession back then, but after all this time, I realized I should have loved you all along. "I swear. I'll make it up to you and never let you be wronged again." I stared coldly. "David, stop spouting nonsense. I'm married. Don't bother me anymore." David tried to speak, but we heard Michael Johnson chuckle as he approached from the entrance. He silently protected me behind him, looked down at David, and deliberately showed the diamond ring on his finger. "Michael, you really have free time. Isn't your company busy enough? You find time to catch up with my wife," David retorted, looking displeased. "Michael, you're meddling too much." "What do you mean?" "Michael, late at night, blocking my wife in front of my house. Of course I have to step in. You just got lucky," David Brown sneered. "If it weren't for me running away from the wedding, would you have had a chance?" "Well, I should thank you, David. Michael Johnson said mockingly. If it weren't for you being blind and foolish, treating fish eyes as pearls, I wouldn't have had this opportunity. Right. You. David pointed at Michael, gritting his teeth in anger. But Michael was in a good mood and put his arm around me, saying to David, David, it's not a good hobby to covet someone else's wife. After all, pearls aren't something that just anyone can match. My wife and I are going home for dinner, so we won't keep you. David, feel free to leave. Michael put his arm around me and we walked back. The door slowly closing behind us. I looked at his uncontrollably rising smile and asked him, so you heard everything I said to him just now? Michael didn't hide it. A smile at the corner of his eyes. Yes. I want to hear your answer. I glared at him. Isn't my answer obvious? Is he really regretting it now when he comes looking? He just wants to put on a show to make me soft-hearted and help him. Vivian Williams is really smart, he said, looking at me with a smile. Since you're so smart, why not guess what I want to say now? I rolled my eyes at him speechlessly. Don't want to guess. He became serious, standing in front of me, looking at me earnestly. You've seen the diary in my room, haven't you? Vivian, I've liked you for many years. I scratched my head uncomfortably. I had seen those several thick diaries in his drawer. Every page filled with entries about me. Did you let me see them on purpose? Yes. He admitted very frankly. I know you don't dislike me, Vivian, although we've already gotten married. I know you did it out of necessity. Vivian, could you give me a chance to be with you? I met his expectant gaze and couldn't help but laugh. Okay. The Brown family ultimately couldn't hold on and declared bankruptcy. David sold off all the properties under their name to repay debts. But it was still far from enough. David's father's condition still hadn't improved. And to cover his father's medical expenses, he went around begging former friends and relatives, but repeatedly hit walls. People, they only treat you well when you have value. When you fall, they hide faster than anyone. David could only look for a job while delivering food to earn money to repay debts. But this has nothing to do with me. I officially took over my father's company. He retired and couldn't wait to travel everywhere with my stepmother. Michael is planning to redo a grand wedding and has been busy with that lately. I took a moment to send him a message. Michael, I miss you. The reply came instantly. Got it. Wife, I'm on my way.